A blood-red ruby gleams in the dark, its light pulsing like a heartbeat in the fog-choked streets of London. Then, a choked scream, a shattering glass, and silence. At the crimson star, a gem whispered to bring death to its owners, is gnawed with it, a life snuffed out. Who dared to steal it? A secret lies buried in its scarlet depths. Step into the shadows with Hercule Poirot, where every clue is a spark, and every spark ignites a deadly truth. London. 1926. The city hums with the clatter of horse-drawn cabs, in the buzz of electric lights, but tonight, in the opulent Claridge's hotel, a darker current flows. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mustache as precise as his mind, steps into the grand dining room, his polished shoes clicking on the marble floor. His little gray cells are already tingling, sensing a storm beneath the evenings. Elegance. He's been invited to a private gala hosted by Lord Reginald Hawthorne, a collector of rare gems, to unveil the Crimson Star, a ruby pendant, said to carry a curse from its origins in a Burmese mine. Legend claims it brings ruin to its owners, bankruptcy, betrayal, or worse. Poirot, ever skeptical of superstition, trusts only facts, but the air feels heavy with foreboding. The dining room is a spectacle of wealth. Crystal chandeliers cast, a golden glow over silk-draped tables where the elite sip champagne and exchange guarded smiles. Lord Hawthorne, a wiry man with a nervous laugh, stands at the head, the crimson star gleaming around his daughter Lady Evelyn's neck, her beauty pale. Skin, raven hair, emerald eyes draws every gaze, but her fingers tremble as she touches the ruby. Poirot notes her unease, wondering if it's the gem's weight or its myth. The guests are a vivid cast. Captain Arthur Langley, a dashing war hero with a roguish grin. Madame Celeste Moreau, a French opera singer whose voice hides a calculating edge. Dr. Victor Crane, a gemologist with a quiet intensity. And Miss Beatrice Kline, Lord Hawthorne's shy secretary, whose eyes linger on Evelyn. A footman, Harold, moves silently, his face pale and tense. Dinner begins, the conversation sparkling, but strained. Captain Langley flirts with Evelyn, his hand brushing hers. Madame Moreau regales the table with tales of Parisian intrigue, her diamond earrings flashing. Dr. Crane speaks of the crimson stars, history mined under duress, stolen, reclaimed, its owners meeting grim fates. Beatrice silent, scribbles notes, her pen trembling. Poirot watches, cataloging details, Langley's bold glances, Moreau's calculated charm, Crane's fixation on the ruby, Beatrice's nervous fidgeting, Harold's stiff movements. Lord Hawthorne boasts of the star's value, but his eyes dart to Evelyn, as if fearing the curse's truth. Then it happens.
Ow.
The lights flicker and die, plunging the room into darkness. A glass shatters, a woman gasps, and a dull thud echoes. When the lights return seconds later, Evelyn clutches her throat. The crimson star is gone. Worse, Lord Hawthorne slumps in his chair, a thin trickle of blood seeping from his chest. He's dead, a silver letter opener embedded in his heart. Chaos erupts, Evelyn screams, Langley curses, Moreau faints dramatically. Beatrice freezes, her pen dropping. Harold stammers, backing away. Poirot steps forward, his voice cutting through the panic. Mies Amos remain calm. No one leaves. His eyes sweep the room, noting every detail. A smudge of rouge on the carpet, a faint whiff of jasmine, a crumpled napkin near Langley's seat. Inspector Davies. A stern policeman summoned by the staff seals the room. Poirot kneels by Hawthorne, confirming the letter opener monogrammed with an H as the weapon. A swift, precise strike, not random. He spots a torn scrap of paper under the table, scrawled with the star demands blood. The curse or a killer's taunt? Poirot's mind races, piecing together the blackout seconds. The rouge smudge near Evelyn's chair suggests movement. The jasmine scent Moreau's perfume lingers near the body, Langley's napkin. Crumpled oddly hides a speck of blood. Beatrice's pen lies near a spilled glass, and Harold's tray is askew as if dropped. Each clue is a thread, but the pattern is murky. Poirot questions the guests briefly, his tone gentle but probing. Evelyn, sobbing, swears she felt a tug at her neck. Langley claims he grabbed his glass, knocking it over. Moreau, revived, insists she fainted from shock. Crane mutters about the ruby's curse, his eyes glassy. Beatrice stammers, saying she reached for Evelyn's shawl. Harold mumbles about a tray mishap. Poirot notes their Liz Moreau's dress is dry, despite the spilled glass. Langley's hands are steady, not clumsy. The blackout, he learns from Davies, was caused by a cut wire in the fuse box, a planned act. The thief, and likely the killer, is in this room. Watching as the police guard the exits, Poirot paces, his hands clasped behind his back. The Crimson Star's curse, whispered by Crane, speaks of vengeance, but Poirot trusts only evidence. The rouge, the jasmine, the blood-specked napkin, each points to a calculated crime. Was Hawthorne the target, or the star? Is the killer driven by greed, revenge, or something deeper? He pauses by the window, the Thames shrouded in fog. The little gray cells, he murmurs, see through shadows. This is no curse, it's human. As the guests shift uneasily, their secrets simmering. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded cage, its crystal chandeliers casting flickering shadows over a scene of murder and theft. The Crimson Star, a ruby pendant steeped in a curse from its Burmese origins, has vanished during a brief blackout. Lord Reginald Hawthorne, the gem's owner, lies dead, a silver letter opener buried in his chest. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind as sharp as his mustache, stands amid the chaos, his green eyes dissecting the suspects. Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the nervous footman, Harold. Clues are scattered like ruby shards, a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, a torn note, and a sabotaged fuse box. The guests are trapped, their facades cracking under Poirot's scrutiny. As London's fog thickens outside, Poirot begins to probe their motives, sensing the killer and thief are one step ahead. But his little gray cells are closing in. Poirot starts with the crime scene, his movements precise, almost balletic. He kneels by Lord Hawthorne's body, now covered by a tablecloth at Inspector Davies's insistence. The letter opener, monogrammed with an H, is a personal weapon, suggesting intimacy or opportunity. Poirot examines the wound clean. Deep thrust, delivered with force but precision, not a frenzied attack. He scans the table, noting its array. Silver candlesticks, a crystal decanter, a porcelain figurine of a swan. Any could be a weapon, but only the letter opener bears blood. He pockets the torn note found under the table. The star demands blood, its handwriting bold but unfamiliar. Is it a killer's flourish or a distraction? Poirot's mind hums, cataloging the blackout's fleeting seconds. The rouge smudge on the carpet near Evelyn's chair catches his eye, a vivid slash against the cream fibers. He scrapes a sample into a handkerchief, noting its proximity to where the Crimson Star last gleamed. Could it be Evelyn's makeup, dropped in panic, or a thief's misstep? The jasmine scent, faint but distinct, lingers near Hawthorne's body. Poirot recalls Madame Moreau's perfume, noted during dinner, a floral note as bold as her presence. He files this away, his ledger of clues growing. The blood-specked napkin near Langley's seat is another puzzle too small for a struggle, but deliberate, as if wiped hastily. He bags it, suspecting it hides a killer's carelessness. Poirot begins questioning the guests. His tone gentle but probing, like a needle seeking a vein. Inspector Davies, a burly man with a clipped mustache, hovers, grumbling about protocol, but Poirot waves him off with a polite smile. Monsieur, the truth speaks in silences, not procedures. He starts with Lady Evelyn, her raven hair disheveled, her emerald eyes red-rimmed. Mademoiselle, you felt a tug at your neck. Oui. Evelyn nods, her voice trembling. It was quick, in the dark, I thought, the curse. Poirot notes her delicate hands unmarred by struggle, but her fear feels staged. He asks about her father, and she hesitates. He was protective, but distant. Poirot senses a rift at Hawthorne's obsession with the star strained their bond. Evelyn's seat, beside her father, gave her access to the letter opener. But murder? He smiles blandly, letting her nerves simmer. Captain Langley next fills the room with his soldier's bravado. His tanned face is taut, his roguish grin gone. I knocked over my glass, Poirot, that's all. He snaps, but Poirot points out the tablecloth dry, despite his claim. Langley's blood-specked napkin, hidden under his plate, draws a scowl, cut from shaving, he mutters. But his hands are steady, not clumsy. Poirot asks about Hawthorne. Learning Langley sought his investment for a shipping venture. He refused, Langley admits, his jaw tight, a motive rejection or desperation. Langley's seat across from Evelyn gave him a clear path to the star, and his war-honed strength could wield the letter opener. Poirot notes his bold glances. At Evelyn, during dinner, love, or leverage, Madame Celeste Moreau, the opera singer, sweeps into Poirot's questions like a diva taking the stage. Her jasmine perfume wafts, her diamond earrings glinting. I fainted, monsieur, from the shock, she declares, but Poirot recalls her dress. Pristine. No sign of a fall. Our lie is bold, like her voice. He asks about her movements, and she waves a hand. I reached for my fan, nothing more. Poirot notes her agility, honed by years on stage, and her proximity to Hawthorne during the blackout. Her Parisian past, rumored to include wealthy patrons, suggests greed as a motive. Did she charm Hawthorne for the star, only to be rebuffed? Her perfume near the body is damning, but too obvious, perhaps a frame. Poirot smiles, letting her think she's safe. Dr. Victor Crane, the gemologist, is a study in restraint. His thin face is pale, his eyes fixed on the table where the star last sparkled. The ruby is cursed, he mutters, mined in blood, owned in ruin. Poirot raises an eyebrow. And do curses wield letter openers, doctor? Crane flinches, his hands clenching. His obsession with the star's history, its Burmese mine, its trail of dead owners borders on mania. Poirot asks about his appraisal of the gem, and Crane admits Hawthorne consulted him privately. He feared it was a fake, Crane says. His voice low. Did Crane know too much? Or want the star for himself? His seat beside Hawthorne gave him opportunity, and his scientific precision could guide a fatal thrust. Poirot notes his trembling fingers, a clue to revisit. Miss Beatrice Kline, the secretary, is a shadow among the glitter. Her plain dress and mousy hair belie her sharp eyes, now dulled by fear. I was helping Lady Evelyn, she stammers, with her shawl. Poirot recalls her nervous scribbling during dinner, her glances at Evelyn. He asks about her duties, learning she managed Hawthorne's correspondence, including letters about the star. He received threats, she whispers, unsigned, about the ruby. Poirot's interest sharpens. Why didn't she mention this sooner? Her proximity to Evelyn during the blackout gave her access to the star, but her frail frame seems unfit for murder. Still, her loyalty to Hawthorne, or hidden resentment, makes her a suspect. Moreau notes her dropped pen near a spilled glass as a possible misstep. Harold, the footman, is last, his lanky frame trembling. I tripped, sir, with the tray. He mumbles, but Poirot sees no wine stains on the floor. He presses. You saw someone move, perhaps? Harold shakes his head, but his eyes dart to Langley. Poirot learns Harold owes money to a local bookmaker, a motive for theft. His role serving drinks gave him access to the fuse box, and his pale face suggests guilt or fear. Poirot asks about the tray's contents, and Harold hesitates. A sign of evasion? A pawn, perhaps? But whose? Poirot steps back, his mind a kaleidoscope of motives. The rouge, the jasmine, the napkin, the note, teaches a thread, but the tapestry is incomplete. The fuse box sabotage, confirmed by Davies, required planning. Someone knew the room, the timing, the prize. But Hawthorne's murder complicates. The theft. Was he the target? Silenced for knowing too much? Or was the star the goal, his death a necessity? The note, "The star demands blood," hints at vengeance, perhaps tied to Crane's curse. Poirot dismisses superstition, but not symbolism. Blood demands motive. He requests the hotel's blueprints, suspecting a hidden exit. The Claridge's, grand and old, holds secrets in its walls. He inspects the service door, finding a scuff mark. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a pressure cooker, its opulent chandeliers casting a harsh light on the faces of the trapped suspects. The crimson star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a fleeting blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his chest. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind as precise as a jeweler's loop, stands at the center of the storm, his green eyes dissecting the guests. Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold. Clues pile like scattered gemstones, a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark on a service door, and a sabotaged fuse box. The guests' lies are unraveling, their motives laid bare, but the killer and the star remain elusive. As the fog outside thins, Poirot digs into the past, weaving threads of deceit into a tapestry that points to the truth. Poirot begins his investigation with a meticulous sweep of the crime scene. It's a small frame moving with deliberate grace. He kneels beside Lord Hawthorne's covered body, the letter opener engraved with an H, now in Inspector Davies's evidence bag. The wound, Poirot confirms, was a single, forceful thrust, aimed with precision to pierce the heart. Not a crime of passion, but calculation. He scans the table again, noting the silver candlesticks, crystal decanter, and porcelain swan figurine. None bear blood, but the letter opener's monogram nags at him Hawthorne's own, or a guest's. He re-examines the torn note found under the table. The star demands blood, its bold handwriting unfamiliar but deliberate. Is it a killer's taunt or a plant to invoke the curse? Poirot pockets a copy of the note, his mind cataloging. The blackout's chaos, the rouge smudge on the carpet near Lady Evelyn's chair, is vivid. A slash of crimson against the cream fibers. Poirot scrapes another sample, noting its texture high quality, likely from an expensive cosmetic. Evelyn's makeup or another's? The jasmine scent near Hawthorne's body points to Madame Moreau, whose perfume lingered during dinner. Sniffs the air, confirming its presence, but wonders if it's too obvious a frame. Perhaps. The blood-specked napkin by Captain Langley's seat is another puzzle. Poirot unfolds it under Davies's watchful eye, finding a tiny smear as if wiped hastily. Not enough for a wound, but enough to suggest guilt or carelessness. He bags it, noting Langley's proximity to Hawthorne during the blackout. Requests a private parlor for questioning, persuading Davies with a charming smile. "Monsieur, the truth hides in words, not force." The parlor, with its velvet curtains and flickering gas lamps, is intimate yet oppressive, perfect for unraveling lies. He starts with Lady Evelyn, her raven hair falling loose, her emerald eyes clouded with grief. "Mademoiselle, you felt a tug at your neck." "Oui." Evelyn nods, her voice shaky. It was so quick, in the dark, I thought. Someone brushed past." Poirot notes her delicate fingers, unmarred, but her hesitation suggests more. He asks about her father, learning of his obsession with the crimson star. He believed in its value, not its curse, she says, but her eyes flicker to Captain Langley. Poirot probes, did he have enemies? Evelyn hesitates, mentioning anonymous letters warning him to sell the star. A motive, greed or revenge? Her seat beside Hawthorne gave her access to the letter opener, but her trembling seems genuine. Poirot lets her go, her secrets simmering. Captain Langley strides into the parlor, his war hero swagger, masking unease. "I didn't touch the blasted ruby," Poirot snaps, but his blood-specked napkin betrays him. Poirot points out the dry tablecloth, contradicting his spilled glass claim. Langley's jaw tightens. "A mistake, that's all." Poirot. Asks about his shipping venture. Learning Hawthorne's refusal cost Langley a fortune. He was a stubborn fool, Langley growls, his hand brushing his paqueta, nervous tick. His strength, honed in battle, could deliver the fatal thrust, and his seat across from Evelyn gave him a path to the star. Poirot notes his flirtations with Evelyn love or manipulation. He smiles blandly, letting Langley stew. Madame Celeste. Moreau enters like a diva, her jasmine perfume filling the parlor. I saw nothing, monsieur, she purrs, but her pristine dress belies her fainting story. Poirot presses, Your perfume, madame, was near the body. Her laugh is brittle. Many women wear jasmine. He asks about her ties to Hawthorne. Learning she sought his patronage for her opera company, he promised funds, then withdrew, she admits, her eyes cold. A motive spurned ambition? Her agility, honed on stage, could snatch the star in seconds, and her seat near Hawthorne gave her opportunity. Poirot notes her diamond earrings, costly for a struggling singer, and wonders if the star was her prize. He lets her go, her composure. A thin-masked Dr. Victor Crane, the gemologist, is a bundle of nerves, his thin hands fidgeting. Star's curse is real, he insists, his voice low. Its owners die. Poirot raises an eyebrow. And you, doctor, did you desire it? Crane flinches, admitting he appraised the ruby for Hawthorne. He feared it was a fake, Crane says, but it was flawless. Did Crane covet it, or fear exposure? His seat beside Hawthorne gave him access to the letter opener, and his scientific precision could guide a fatal strike. Poirot notes his glassy eyes, as if haunted, and asks about the curse. Blood follows the star, Crane mutters, a hint of obsession. Poirot files this away, suspecting mania or guilt. Miss Beatrice Kline. It's a shadow, her mousy appearance hiding sharp eyes. I was at Lady Evelyn's side, she says, her voice trembling. Poirot asks about the threatening letters, and she admits typing them for Hawthorne. He ignored them, called them nonsense. Why hide this? Her dropped pen near a spilled glass suggests movement during the blackout. Her loyalty to Hawthorne, or resentment at her serval role, makes her a suspect. Poirot notes her glances. At Evelyn not emotion or envy? Her frail frame seems unfit for murder, but her access to the star is undeniable. He lets her go, her nerves a clue. Harold the footman is last, his lanky frame shaking. I tripped, sir, he repeats, but Poirot sees no wine stains. He asks about the fuse box, and Harold stammers, admitting he passed it before dinner. I owe money, sir, to a bookmaker, a motive for theft but murder. His tray askew. Suggests a planned distraction. Poirot presses. Did you see anyone move? Harold's eyes dart to Moreau, then away. Pawn or a player. Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Poirot returns to the dining room, the guests under Davies's. Guard. He inspects the service door, its scuff mark and loose hinge hinting at an escape. The blueprints, delivered by the manager, reveal a corridor to the kitchens and guest rooms. Poirot climbs the staircase, finding a window with a loose latch. Did the thief flee here? The timing second seems impossible, but a practiced hand could manage. He finds a tiny pearl bead in the stairwell, like one from Moreau's earrings. A clue or misdirection? The guests passed, requested via telegraph to Scotland Yard, arrive. Hawthorne's wealth came from colonial ventures, including Burmese mines. Did the star's curse follow him? Langley's war record hides gambling. Debts. Moreau's Parisian patrons included jewel thief, dismissed but suspicious. Crane's academic career ended over forged gem certifications. Beatrice's past is clean, but her father died in a mine collapse, Burmese perhaps. Debts are confirmed, tied to a shady bookmaker. Each thread tightens the web. As dawn nears, Poirot paces, the Thames gleaming below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, note, bead-all point to a calculated crime. The fuse box sabotage required planning. Was Hawthorne killed for the star, or a deeper grudge? The note's blood hints at vengeance. Poirot murmurs, the shadow hides, but Poirot sees. The guests fray. Langley snaps at Crane. Moreau glares at Beatrice. Evelyn weeps. Who struck Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Poirot's trap springs a surprise. Like, subscribe, and drop your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded trap, its chandeliers casting long shadows over a scene of murder and deception. The crimson star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a meticulously planned blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his chest. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind as sharp as cut glass, stands amid the suspects: Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman Harold his. Green eyes peeling back their lies, clues weave a deadly web. A smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, a cryptic note, a scuff mark on a service door, a pearl bead, and a sabotaged fuse box. The guests' pasts, revealed by Scotland Yard, hint at motives of greed, revenge, and desperation. As dawn bathes London in pale light, Poirot tightens his net, probing deeper into the shadows, knowing the killer and thief are watching there. Nerves fraying, Poirot begins by revisiting the crime scene, his small frame moving with the precision of a watchmaker. The dining room, now cordoned off by Inspector Davies's constables, feels stifling, the air thick with fear. He kneels by Lord Hawthorne's covered body, the letter opener engraved with an H, now in an evidence bag. The wound, a clean thrust to the heart, required strength and intent, ruling out a random act. Poirot scans the table again. Silver candlesticks, a crystal decanter, a porcelain swan figurine. None show blood, but the letter opener's monogram likely. Hawthorne suggests a personal connection. He re-examines the torn note. The star demands blood, its bold handwriting, a deliberate taunt. Comparing it to the guest's signatures collected earlier, he finds no match. Captain Langley's confident scrawl is close. A clue or misdirection. Little gray cells hum, sorting the blackout's chaos. The rouge smudge. Near Lady Evelyn's chair, vivid against the carpet, nags at him. He tests it with a gloved finger, confirming its creamy texture. High-end cosmetic, likely from Evelyn or Madame Moreau. The jasmine scent near Hawthorne's body points to Moreau, but its intensity feels staged, as if sprayed to mislead. Poirot bags another sample, noting its proximity to the blood-specked napkin by Langley's seat. The napkin's smear, too small for a wound, suggests a wiped blade or hand. He inspects it under a constable's magnifying glass, finding a faint fiber blue silk, like Evelyn's shawl. Did she move in the dark, or is she being framed? Poirot's ledger of clues grows, each detail a thread in the tapestry. He requests the hotel's service corridor for inspection, suspecting the scuff mark and loose hinge on the door hide an escape. The blueprints, studied earlier, show a passage. To the kitchens and guest rooms, Poirot navigates the dim corridor, his polished shoes silent on the stone floor. The pearl bead, found on the staircase, glints under his pocket torch. It matches Moreau's earrings, but its placement feels deliberate, to implicate her. He finds a faint smudge of rouge on the stairwell wall, matching the carpets. A thief's haste, or another plant? The window at the corridor's end, its latch loose, suggests a possible exit, but the blackout's brevity seconds makes escape unlikely. Poirot pockets the bead, his mind racing. The thief stayed in the room. The star hidden close. Poirot returns to the dining room where the guests sit under Davies's stern gaze. Lady Evelyn weeps softly, her shawl slipping. Langley's bravado falters, his fingers twitching. Poise is strained, her diamond earrings catching the light. Crane's eyes are glassy, fixed on the table. Beatrice's hands tremble, her notebook clutched tightly. Harold hovers by the service door, his face ashen. Poirot begins questioning, starting with Evelyn in the parlor. Mademoiselle, the rouge near your chair yours? She shakes her head, her voice trembling. I didn't move, monsieur. Poirot notes her shawl's blue silk, matching the napkin's fiber. He asks about the threatening letters, and she admits one mentioned blood for the star. Her fear seems genuine, but her proximity to the letter opener and her father's wealth make her a suspect. Poirot lets her go, her tears a puzzle. Captain Langley strides in, his military bearing fraying. "I'm no thief, Poirot," he snaps, but the blood-specked napkin undermines him. Poirot points out the blue silk fiber. "Yours, perhaps, from Mademoiselle Evelyn's shawl?" Langley flushes, admitting he brushed against her during the blackout. "I was steadying her," he claims, but his eyes dart. Poirot asks about his debts, confirmed by Scotland Yard, and Langley bristles. "Hawthorne's refusal ruined me. His strength and seat near the star gave him opportunity, and his flirtations with Evelyn suggest a deeper motive marriage for wealth." Poirot smiles, letting him sweat. Madame Moreau sweeps in, her jasmine perfume overwhelming. "I am innocent, Monsieur," she purrs, but her dry dress contradicts her fainting story. Poirot mentions the pearl bead, and her hand flies to her earrings, one missing a pearl. "I lost it days ago," she says, but her voice wavers. Her Parisian past, tied to a jewel thief, and her spurned patronage make her a suspect. Her agility could snatch the star, and her jasmine scent near the body is damning. Poirot asks about her movements, and she claims she reached for her fan. He notes her earrings cost, unlikely for a struggling singer, and lets her go, her poise cracking. Dr. Victor Crane, the gemologist, is next, his thin frame trembling. "The star's curse took Hawthorne," he mutters, but Poirot presses, or a human hand. Crane admits Hawthorne feared the ruby was a fake, but his appraisal confirmed its authenticity. "He was paranoid," Crane says, his eyes avoiding. Poirot's his obsession with the star's history, its Burmese mine, its trail of ruin hints at mania. His seat beside Hawthorne gave him access to the letter opener, and his precision could guide a fatal thrust. Poirot notes his trembling hands, stained with ink from his pen, and asks about the note. "I wrote nothing," Crane insists, but his unease grows. Poirot lets him go, suspecting a hidden agenda. Miss Beatrice Kline enters, her mousy appearance masking sharp eyes. "I was helping Lady Evelyn," she repeats, but her dropped pen and spilled glass suggest movement. Poirot asks about the threatening letters, and she admits typing one that warned of blood. "Lord Hawthorne dismissed it," she says, her voice shaking. Her father's death in a Burmese mine, revealed by Scotland Yard, suggests a grudge. Did she blame Hawthorne's colonial wealth? Her access to the star and loyalty to Evelyn make her a suspect, but her frailty seems unfit for murder. Poirot notes her notebook's tight grip, a clue to revisit. Harold, the footman, is last, his lanky frame shaking. "I didn't see nothin', sir," he mumbles, but his tray's lack of stains betrays his trip. Poirot asks about his debts, and Harold admits owing a bookmaker named Jack Riley. "He threatened me," he whispers. Poirot presses, "Did you cut the fuse?" Harold shakes his head, but his eyes dart to Moreau. A pawn, perhaps, paid to act. Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Poirot requests Davies to check the fuse box again, confirming a cut wire deliberate sabotage. He also asks for a search of the guests' rooms, suspecting the star is hidden nearby. The guests frailingly argues with Crane. Moreau snaps at Beatrice. Evelyn weeps. Poirot paces, the Thames gleaming below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, bead no tall point to a conspiracy. Was Hawthorne killed for the star, or a deeper secret? The curse's blood hints at vengeance, perhaps tied to Beatrice's past. Poirot murmurs, the net tightens, but the shadow slips. Who struck Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Poirot's trap springs a shocking truth. Like, subscribe, and share your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a crucible of tension. Its opulent chandeliers casting stark light on the faces of suspects trapped in a web of murder and theft. The Crimson Star, a ruby pendant, cursed by its violent origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a calculated blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead. A monogrammed letter opener buried in his heart. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective whose little gray cells cut through deception like a blade, stands at the heart of the mystery, his green eyes piercing the facades of Lady Evelyn Hawthorne. Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold. Clues pile like scattered jewels, a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, and a sabotaged fuse, box each pointing to a conspiracy of greed, vengeance, or desperation. The guests. Pasts uncovered by Scotland Yard reveal tangled motives, but the killer and the star remain elusive. As London's dawn fades into morning, Poirot sets a trap to break the guilty, knowing the shadow is watching. Ready to strike again? Poirot begins by orchestrating a subtle provocation. Gathering the guests under the watchful eyes of Inspector Davies and his constables. The dining room feels like a cage, the air thick with fear and suspicion. Lady Evelyn sits pale, her blue shawl slipping, her emerald eyes darting. Captain Langley's bravado is fraying, his fingers twitching near his pocket. Madame Moreau's poise is brittle, her jasmine perfume lingering like a accusation. Dr. Crane clutches a pen, his glassy eyes fixed on the table. Beatrice Kline grips her notebook, her mousy demeanor masking tension. Harold hovers by the service door, his face ashen, his tray abandoned. Poirot steps forward, his voice calm but commanding. Mes amis, the crimson star is close, and the killer closer. I have found a trace of the truth. He holds up a small evidence bag borrowed from Davies, containing a single ruby chip, actually a red glass bead from the hotel's decor. But the guests don't know that. A fragment of the star, he lies, watching their reactions. Evelyn gasps. Langley's jaw tightens. Moreau's fan pauses. Poirot's trap is psychological, designed to crack the guilty. He weaves the clues into his narrative, tightening the screws. The rouge smudge near Evelyn's chair, he notes, matches high-end cosmetic. Possibly hers, or Moreau's. Mademoiselle Hawthorne. Did you drop it in the dark? Evelyn shakes her head, her voice trembling. I didn't move, Poirot notes. Her shawl's blue silk, matching the fiber in Langley's napkin. He turns to Langley, producing the blood-specked napkin. Monsieur, this blood yours, or Lord Hawthorne's? Langley's face reddens. A cut, I told you. But his eyes avoid Poirot's, and the napkin's fiber suggests contact with Evelyn. Poirot mentions the jasmine scent near the body. Eyeing Moreau, Madame, your perfume was strong by the victim. Moreau laughs, but her fan trembles. A common scent, monsieur. Poirot smiles, letting their nerves fray. The torn note, the star demands blood, is his next probe. He shows a copy, watching Dr. Crane flinch. Doctor, you spoke of the ruby's curse? Did you write this? Crane's voice is low. Never. But the star's history demands justice. His ink-stained fingers, noted earlier, match the notes. Bold script, but not perfectly. Poirot files this away, suspecting Crane's obsession masks a motive. The pearl bead from the stairwell matching Moreau's earrings is another thread. He asks her about it, and she insists, I lost it days ago. Her denial is too quick, her earrings too costly for her supposed poverty. Poirot requests Davies to search her room for the matching pearl, knowing it may be a plant. The service door's scuff mark and loose hinge nag at Poirot. He inspects it again, finding a faint trace of candle wax, perhaps from the table's candlesticks. Did someone light a candle in the dark? Or drop wax fleeing? He recalls the candlestick's position near Langley and Crane. The blueprints show the corridor leads to a staff staircase where the pearl bead was found. Poirot climbs again, finding a tiny scrap of paper wedged in a crack, scrawled with Riley Midnight. Riley, Harold's bookmaker, suggests a meeting. Was Harold paid to sabotage the fuse? Poirot pockets the scrap, suspecting a conspiracy beyond the dining room. Poirot questions Harold privately, his tone gentle but piercing. Monsieur, you owe Jack Riley money? Oui? Did he send you to the fuse box? Harold's face crumples. He said, cut the wire, or he'd break me legs. Poirot presses, and the ruby. Harold shakes his head, tears falling. I didn't touch it. Poirot believes his fear, but not his innocence. Harold's tray, askew, was a distraction, and his glance at Moreau hints at her involvement, or manipulation. Poirot lets him go, his confession a thread to pull. He shifts to Beatrice, whose notebook intrigues him. In the parlor, he asks to see it, mademoiselle. Your notes, what secrets do they hold? Beatrice hesitates, handing it over. The pages list Hawthorne's appointments, including one with Crane about the star's appraisal. A scrawled margin note reads, E-watch. Him, Evelyn, or another. Poirot recalls Beatrice's father's death in a Burmese mine, possibly tied to Hawthorne's colonial ventures. Did you blame Lord Hawthorne? He asks. Beatrice's eyes flash. He profited from pain, she whispers, but denies murder. Her loyalty to Evelyn and her access to the threatening letters make her a suspect. Poirot notes her trembling, hands a sign of guilt or fear. The guests' pasts per Scotland Yard deepen the web. Hawthorne's wealth from Burmese mines suggests enemies, perhaps Beatrice's family. Langley's gambling debts owed to Riley, line with Harold's. Moreau's jewel thief, patron in Paris, hints at skill with gems. Crane's forged certification suggests greed or desperation. Beatrice's clean record hides her father's tragedy, a motive for vengeance. Poirot requests Davies to check Riley's connections, suspecting he links Harold to a guest. Poirot orchestrates a bold move, announcing a search of the guests' persons approved by Davies. Protests eruptingly roars. Moreau calls it indecent. Crane mutters about curses. Evelyn's purse yields a compact with rouge matching the smudge. Langley's pockets hold a betting slip from Riley, confirming his debts. Moreau's fan conceals a hidden compartment, tempting but suspicious. Crane's coat holds a jeweler's loop stained with ink. Beatrice's notebook, already seen, hides nothing new. Harold's apron yields a crumpled note, fuse. 9 o'clock. Poirot's trap works Langley's betting slip, and Harold's note point to Riley. But the star and killer remain hidden. As noon approaches, Poirot inspects the candlesticks, finding one with a chipped base recent, possibly the blackout's chaos. He tests a theory, asking Davies to check the fireplace for ash, suspecting burned evidence. A constable finds charred paper, its fragment reading, blood for, matching the note script. Poirot's net tightens, but the killer's hand is veiled. He confronts Crane about the ink, and Crane admits spilling it during dinner. I was nervous, he says, but his eyes betray more. Poirot recalls the note's blood, tying it to Crane's curse obsession. The guest frailingly snaps at Moreau. Evelyn weeps. Beatrice hovers protectively. Poirot paces, the Thames gleaming below, the rouge, jasmine, napkin, bead, wax. Notes will point to a planned crime. Was Hawthorne killed for the star, or a deeper grudge? The curse's blood suggests vengeance, perhaps Beatrice's or Crane's. Poirot murmurs. The trap is set, but the shadow moves. Who struck Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter where Poirot's gambit cracks a suspect. Like, subscribe, and share your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded snare, its chandeliers casting a flickering glow over a scene of mounting dread. The crimson star, a ruby pendant, cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a meticulously planned blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener piercing his heart. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind as sharp as a razor, stands amid the suspects Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold His. Green eyes cutting through their lies. Clues pile like scattered shards. A smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin. A cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, candle wax, a charred paper fragment, and a sabotaged fuse box. The guests' pasts revealed by Scotland Yard weave a web of greed, vengeance, and desperation. With Harold's bookmaker, Jack Riley, a shadowy link, Poirot's trap announcing a ruby chippus rattled the guilty, but the star and the killer remain elusive. As noon bathes London in pale light, a new shock stirs the shadow, and Poirot's net tightens. Poirot stands in the dining room, the guests' faces etched with fear and defiance. Lady Evelyn, her blue shawl askew, clutches her compact, her emerald eyes clouded. Captain Langley's bravado is crumbling, his bedding slip damning him. Madame Moreau's poise falters, her missing pearl earring a lingering question. Dr. Crane's glassy stare betrays obsession, his ink-stained fingers twitching. Beatrice Kline grips her notebook, her mousy facade cracking. Harold, restrained by a constable, stares at the floor, his note about the fuse box exposing his role. Poirot's little gray cells hum, sorting clues, the rouge matching Evelyn's. Compact. The jasmine pointing to Moreau. The napkin's blood and silk implicating Langley. The charred fragment echoing Crane's curse, and Beatrice's notebook hinting at vengeance. The shadow stirs, and Poirot senses a break. A sudden cry pierces the silence, coming from the service corridor. Poirot bolts toward it, Inspector Davies and a constable at his heels. In the dim passage, they find a kitchen boy, Tommy, slumped against the wall, clutching his arm, a shallow cut oozing blood. A knife kitchen issue like the letter opener lies nearby, its handle smudged with rouge. Poirot kneels, pressing a handkerchief to Tommy's wound. Mon Dieu, he murmurs. The shadow strikes again. Davies calls for a doctor, and Poirot examines the knife, noting the rouge matches the dining room smudge. A warning, like Lily's attack in another tale, to silence a witness. Tommy, dazed, mumbles, "Someone grabbed me." A woman, I think. Poirot's mind flashes to the cloaked woman Harold mentioned, tied to Riley. The shadow is moving, desperate to cover its tracks. Back in the dining room, the guests are in chaos. Evelyn weeps. Langley curses. Moreau fans herself frantically. Crane mutters about curses, and Beatrice's hands tremble. Harold, pale, stammers, "I didn't do it." Poirot raises a hand, his voice calm but commanding. Mes Amis, a second attack, proves the killer fears exposure. The crimson star is near, and the truth nearer. He announces Tommy's survival. Watching their reactions, Langley's jaw tightens, Moreau's fan pauses, Beatrice's eyes dart to Evelyn. Poirot's bluff about the ruby chip still lingers, and he amplifies it. The boy saw something. He lies, and soon he will speak. The room tenses, Crane's pen drops, Harold shrinks. Evelyn gasps. The trap is working, fraying nerves. Poirot revisits the clues, tightening his net. The rouge on the knife, matching Evelyn's compact, and the carpet smudge, suggests her involvement or a frame. He confronts her privately in the parlor. "Mademoiselle, your rouge is everywhere, explain." Evelyn's voice trembles. "I dropped my compact during the blackout, that's all." Poirot notes her shawl's blue silk, matching the napkins. "Fiber," he asks about the threatening letters, and she admits one mentioned blood for the mine. "Father ignored it," she says, her eyes on Langley. Poirot suspects a rift at Hawthorne's obsession with the star alienate her, or was. She, protecting his wealth? Her proximity to the letter opener makes her a suspect, but her fear feels real. He lets her go, her tears a puzzle. Captain Langley is next, his swagger gone. "I'm no killer, Poirot," he snaps, but the blood-specked napkin and bedding slip. "Tie him to Riley." Poirot shows the silk fiber. "From Mademoiselle Evelyn's shawl, oui." Langley admits, brushing against her, to comfort her, but his eyes flicker. Poirot presses about Riley, learning Langley owes him thousands.
"Is?"
A shark, Langley growls. His strength could wield the letter opener, and his seat gave him access to the star. His flirtations with Evelyn love, or a play for her inheritance? Poirot smiles, letting him stew. Madame Moreau enters, her jasmine perfume sharp.
"I am
"Innocent, monsieur," she purrs, but her missing pearl and dry dress undermine her. Poirot mentions the stairwell bead. "Yours, madame." Her laugh is brittle, lost, as I said. Her Parisian jewel thief connection and spurned patronage suggest motive. The jasmine near Hawthorne's body, and now the rouge on the knife. Point to her, or a setup. Poirot asks about her fan's hidden compartment, and she flushes. For letters, nothing more. He notes her agility, perfect for snatching the star, and lets her go. her poise cracking. Dr. Crane, trembling, insists. The curse killed Hawthorne. The star demands blood, he mutters, echoing the note. Poirot shows the charred fragment blood for, and Crane flinches. Not mine. His ink-stained fingers, loose vial, and forged certifications make him a suspect.
How did he?
Kill to hide a fake star, or claim it. His seat beside Hawthorne gave him opportunity, and his obsession suggests mania. Poirot asks about the Burmese mine, and Crane's voice drops. Its workers died for that ruby. A grudge or guilt? Poirot lets him go, his unease a clue. Beatrice Kline, mousy but sharp, clutches her notebook. Poirot shows the margin note, E-watch. Him, Lady Evelyn? He asks. Beatrice admits watching Langley, who pressed Hawthorne for money. He was trouble, she whispers. Her father's mine, death, tied to Hawthorne's wealth, suggests vengeance. Her access to the threatening letters and proximity to Evelyn make her a suspect, but her frailty seems unfit for murder. Poirot notes her trembling hands, a sign of fear or guilt. Harold Lass crumbles under Poirot's gaze. I cut the fuse for Riley, he sobs, but I didn't kill. Poirot shows the Riley midnight scrap. Who paid you? Harold shakes his head, but his eyes dart to Moreau, pawn, manipulated by a guest. Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Davies reports Riley's connections Langley. Harold, and a shadowy woman in London's underworld. Possibly Moreau's contact. Poirot orders a second search, focusing on hidden pockets. Evelyn's compact holds only rouge. Langley's betting slip reveals Riley's address. Moreau's. Fan yields a tiny key, unexplained. Crane's loop hides a smudge of wax matching the candlestick. Beatrice's notebook has a torn page, matching. The charred fragment. Apron holds a match, like the stairwells. The fireplace's charred paper suggests burned evidence. Did someone destroy a letter? Poirot tests the candlestick. Its chipped base heavy enough to stun, but not. Kill. A distraction or a weapon? As evening falls, Poirot paces, the Thames gleaming below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, bead, wax notes all point to a conspiracy. Tommy's attack mirrors the killer's desperation. Was Hawthorne killed for the star, or a deeper grudge? Beatrice's past, Crane's obsession, Langley's debts, Moreau's guile all converge. Poirot murmurs, the shadow stirs, but Poirot waits. Who struck Hawthorne? Where's the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Poirot's trap catches a break. Like, subscribe, and drop your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded prison, its chandeliers casting jagged shadows over a scene thick with fear and deception. The crimson star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his heart. A second attack on Tommy, the kitchen boy, proves the killer's desperation to silence witnesses. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind like a polished gem, stands amid the suspects: Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, the trembling footman, Harold, his green eyes slicing through their lies. Clues pile like scattered evidence: a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, candle wax, a charred paper fragment, and a sabotaged fuse box. Harold's confession ties him to bookmaker Jack Riley, and Beatrice's notebook hints at vengeance, but the star and the killer remain elusive. As evening cloaks London in shadow, Poirot's trap of fake ruby chip has rattled the guilty. And now a new shock cracks a suspect's mask, bringing the truth closer. Poirot stands in the dining room, the guest's nerves fraying under Inspector Davies' stern watch. Lady Evelyn, her blue shawl slipping, grips her compact, her emerald eyes haunted. Captain Langley's swagger is gone, his betting slip linking him to Riley. Madame Moreau's poise is a brittle shell, her missing pearl. Earing a nagging clue, Dr. Crane clutches his pen, his obsession with the star's curse palpable. Beatrice Kline's notebook trembles in her hands, her mousy facade hiding sharp intent. Harold, restrained by a constable, stares at the floor, his fuse box sabotage exposed. Poirot's little gray cells churn, weaving clues. The rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's compact. The jasmine scent pointing to Moreau. The napkin's blood and silk implicating Langley. The charred fragment echoing Crane's curse. In Beatrice's note, watch him suggesting a grudge. Da-da-da-da. A new shock looms and Poirot is ready. Clatter breaks the silence. Beatrice's notebook slips from her hands. Pages fluttering to reveal a hidden sketch. A ruby pendant. Unmistakably, the crimson star. The room gasps, and Beatrice freezes, her eyes wide. Poirot pounces, his voice calm but piercing. Mademoiselle Kline, you drew the star. Why? Beatrice stammers. It's just a sketch. Poirot's trap, sparked by his ruby chip bluff, has cracked her mask. He picks up the notebook, noting the sketch's detail, every facet, every setting. This is no casual doodle, he says, watching her tremble. The guests erupt. Langley curses, Moreau snaps, Evelyn weeps. Davies restrains Beatrice, but Poirot halts him. Not yet. Inspector, the shadow stirs, but we need more. Poirot revisits the clues, tightening his net. The rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's compact, and the carpet smudge, suggests her involvement or a frame. He confronts her in the parlor. Mademoiselle, your rouge marks the crime. Explain. Evelyn's voice breaks. I dropped my compact, I swear. Poirot shows the blue silk fiber from Langley's napkin, matching her shawl. Did you move in the dark? She denies it, but her eyes flicker to Langley. Poirot asks about the threatening letters, and she admits one mentioned vengeance for the mine. Father laughed it off, she says, but her fear is real. Her proximity to the letter opener and her inheritance make her a suspect. But her trembling hands suggest panic, not guilt. Poirot lets her go, her tears a puzzle. Captain Langley is next, his face flushed. I didn't touch the ruby. He snaps, but the blood-specked napkin and Riley's bedding slip damn him. Poirot shows the silk fiber. From Mademoiselle Evelyn's shawl, oui? Langley admits brushing against her, to steady her, but his eyes dart. Poirot presses about Riley, learning Langley's debts are crippling. He owns me, Langley mutters. His strength could wield the letter opener, and his seat gave him access to the star. His flirtations with Evelyn love or a grab for wealth. Poirot smiles, letting him sweat. Madame Moreau sweeps in, her jasmine perfume sharp. I am no killer, monsieur, she purrs, but her missing pearl and hidden fan compartment undermine her. Poirot mentions the stairwell bead. Yours, madame, lost days ago. But her fan's key, unexplained, intrigues him. Her Parisian jewel thief connection and spurned patronage suggest motive. The jasmine near Hawthorne's body and rouge on the knife point too. Her are a setup. Poirot asks about her movements, and she claims she dropped her fan. He notes her agility, perfect for theft, and lets her go, her poise fraying. Dr. Crane, trembling, insists the curse killed Hawthorne. The star demands blood, he mutters, echoing the note. Poirot shows the charred fragment, blood for. Crane flinches. Not mine. His ink-stained fingers and forged certifications make him a suspect. Did he kill to hide a fake star, or claim it? His seat beside Hawthorne gave him opportunity, and his obsession with the Burmese mine suggests a grudge. Poirot asks about the ink, and Crane admits spilling it nervously. I feared the curse, he says, but his eyes betray more. Poirot lets him go, his unease a clue. Beatrice, recalled, crumbles under Poirot's gaze. The sketch. Was fascinated. By the star, she whispers. Poirot shows the notebook's margin note. Watch him. Lady Evelyn or another? Beatrice admits watching Langley, who pressured Hawthorne. He was dangerous, she says, her voice shaking. Her father's death in a Burmese mine tied to Hawthorne's wealth suggests vengeance, Moreau asks. About the threatening letters, and she admits typing one warning of blood. I wanted to scare him, she says, but denies murder. Her access to the star and loyalty to Evelyn make her a suspect, but her frailty seems unfit for violence. Poirot notes her sketch's precision, a sign of obsession. Harold last, sobs under questioning. "I cut the fuse for Riley," he repeats, but Poirot shows the Riley midnight scrap was with him. Harold's eyes dart to Moreau. A woman, her voice like hers. Poirot suspects Moreau's involvement, or a mimic. Harold's match, found in his apron, matches the stairwells. A pawn paid to act? Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Poirot requests Davies to search the guest rooms again, focusing on hidden compartments. Evelyn's purse yields a locket with a photo Hawthorne, or another. Langley's room holds a cigar case, its brand matching the stairwell match. Moreau's fan key unlocks nothing, but her room has a vial of jasmine oil freshly opened. Crane's loop hides wax, linking to the candlestick. Beatrice's room yields a letter half-burned, with mine scrawled her father's death. Harold's locker holds a betting slip, signed by Riley. The fireplace's charred fragment suggests destroyed evidence. Did Beatrice burn her letter? Poirot tests the theory, asking Davies to check the candlestick's wax under ultraviolet light. A faint blood trace appears, not Hawthorne's but Tommy's, suggesting the candlestick was used to stun him. The knife's rouge links to Evelyn's. Compact, but Poirot suspects a plant. He confronts Moreau about the jasmine oil, and she flushes. "For my nerves," she claims, but her fan's key nags at him. The guest's frailingly snaps at Crane. Evelyn clings to Beatrice. Moreau glares. At Harold, Poirot paces, the Thames darkening below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, bead, wax, sketch, notes all point to a conspiracy. Tommy's attack proves the killer's fear. Was Hawthorne killed for the star, or a deeper grudge? Beatrice's sketch and past suggest vengeance, but the letter opener's thrust required strength. Poirot murmurs. The mask cracks, but the shadow hides. Who struck Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Poirot's trap catches. Another like, subscribe, and drop your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded battlefield, its chandeliers casting a harsh glow over a scene of fraying nerves and hidden truths. The Crimson Star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a calculated blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his heart. A second attack on Tommy, the kitchen boy, with a rouge-smeared knife, proves the killer's desperation to silence witnesses. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind sharper than a diamond's edge, stands among the suspects. Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold, his green eyes cutting through their crumbling facades. Clues pile like scattered evidence: a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, candle wax, a charred paper fragment, a betting slip, a data sketch of the star in Beatrice's notebook. Harold's confession ties him to bookmaker Jack Riley, and Beatrice's sketch and past hint at vengeance. But the star and the killer remain elusive. As night deepens over London, Poirot's traps parked by a fake ruby chipis cracked Beatrice's mask, and now a new revelation tightens the web. Pulling the truth into focus, Poirot stands in the dining room, the guests' faces a gallery of fear and suspicion. Lady Evelyn, her blue shawl slipping, clutches her locket, her emerald eyes haunted. Captain Langley's bravado is a shadow. I seal. His betting slip tying him to Riley. Madame Moreau's poise is cracking, her jasmine, oil, and missing pearl earring damning clues. Dr. Crane's glassy stare betrays obsession, his ink-stained fingers twitching. Beatrice, her notebook sketch exposed, sits rigid, her mousy facade shattered. Harold, restrained by a constable, stares at the floor, his fuse box sabotage and match linking him to the crime. Poirot's little gray cells hum, weaving clues, the rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's compact. The jasmine pointing to Moreau. The napkin's blood and silk implicating Langley. The charred fragment echoing Crane's curse. And Beatrice's sketch and note, E-watch. him suggesting a grudge. A new shock looms, and Poirot is ready to unravel the web. A sudden gasp breaks the silence Evelyn's. Locket slips from her hand, springing open to reveal a tiny ruby shard, glinting like a drop of blood. The room erupts. Langley curses Moreau. Fan snaps shut. Crane mutters about curses. Poirot pounces, his voice calm but piercing. Mademoiselle Hawthorne, a piece of the crimson star, how came it here? Evelyn's face crumples. I found it in my shawl after the blackout, she sobs. I thought someone put it there. Poirot's trap, sparked by the ruby chip bluff, has struck gold. He holds up the shard, watching Beatrice flinch, and Moreau's eyes narrow. Inspector Davies restrains Evelyn, but Poirot halts him. Not yet, Inspector. The web unravels, but the shadow moves. The guest's nerves fray. Langley snaps at Crane. Beatrice clings to her notebook. Harold weeps. The truth is close, but the killer's hand is veiled. Poirot revisits the clues, tightening his net. The rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's. Compact, and the carpet smudge suggests her involvement or a frame. He confronts her in the parlor. Mademoiselle, this ruby shard yours by theft? Evelyn's voice breaks. I swear, I found it. Someone tugged my shawl in the dark. Poirot shows the blue silk fiber from Langley's napkin matching her shawl. Did you move? She denies it, but her eyes flicker to Beatrice. Poirot asks about the threatening letters, and she admits one warned of blood for the mine. Father ignored it, she says, her fear real. Her locket's ruby shard makes her a suspect, but her trembling hand suggests panic, not guilt. Poirot lets her go, her tears a puzzle. Captain Langley is next, his face flushed. I didn't touch the ruby. He snaps, but the blood specked. Napkin and Riley's bedding slip? Damn him. Poirot shows the silk fiber. From Mademoiselle Evelyn's shawl, Langley admits, brushing against her, to comfort her, but his eyes dart. Poirot presses about Riley, learning Langley's debts are tied to a failed shipping deal Hawthorne rejected. He ruined me, Langley growls. His strength could wield the letter opener, and his seat gave him access to the star. His flirtations. With Evelyn love, or a play for her inheritance? Poirot smiles, letting him sweat. Madame Moreau enters, her jasmine perfume sharp.
I am innocent, monsieur,
she purrs, but her missing pearl and jasmine oil undermine her, Poirot mentions. The stairwell bead. Yours, madame, she laughs. Lost days ago. Her fan's key, still unexplained, intrigues him. Her Parisian jewel thief, connection, and spurned patronage suggest motive. The jasmine near Hawthorne's body and rouge on the knife point to her or a setup. Poirot asks about the oil, and she flushes. For my nerves, she claims. Her agility could snatch the star, and her seat gave her opportunity. Poirot lets her go, her poise crumbling. Dr. Crane, trembling, insists the curse killed Hawthorne. The star demands blood, he mutters, echoing the note. Poirot shows the charred fragment blood for, and Crane flinches. Not mine? His ink-stained fingers and forged certifications make him a suspect. Did he kill to hide a fake star or claim it? His seat beside Hawthorne gave him opportunity, and his obsession with the Burmese mind suggests a grudge. Poirot asks about the wax on his loupe, and Crane admits handling the candlestick. I was curious, he says, but his eyes betray fear. Poirot lets him go, his unease a clue. Beatrice, recalled, crumbles under Poirot's gaze. The sketch. I studied the star, she whispers. Poirot shows the notebook's note. You watch him. Lady Evelyn or Langley? Beatrice admits watching Langley, who pressured Hawthorne. He was trouble, she says, her voice shaking. Her father's mine death, tied to Hawthorne's wealth, suggests vengeance. Poirot asks about the half-burned letter in her room, and she gasps. I wrote to father years ago about the mine. Her access to the threatening letters and sketches' precision make her a suspect, but her frailty seems unfit for murder. Poirot notes her trembling hands, a sign of guilt or fear. Harold Lass sobs under questioning. I cut the fuse for Riley, he repeats, but Poirot shows the stairwell match. Yours, monsieur? Harold nods, admitting he lit it to check the fuse box. A woman told me too, he whispers, pointing to Moreau. Poirot suspects a mimic Beatrice, perhaps using jasmine to frame Moreau. Harold's betting slip confirms Riley's hold, a pawn manipulated by a guest. Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Poirot orders a third search, focusing on hidden spaces. Evelyn's locket yields no more shards. Langley's cigar case holds a monogrammed handkerchief initial H, like the letter opener. Moreau's room has a hidden purse with a ruby sketch, mirroring Beatrice's. Crane's coat pocket holds a tiny vial ink or poison. Beatrice's letter, half-burned, mentions justice for the mine. Harold's locker yields a key, matching Moreau's fan. The candlestick's blood trace from Tommy suggests a stun before the knife. Poirot tests the fireplace, finding ash with a silk thread blue, like Evelyn's shawl. Burned evidence, or a frame. As midnight nears, Poirot paces the Thames black below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, bead, wax, sketch, notes, chardol point to a conspiracy. Proves the killer's fear. Beatrice's sketch and past suggest vengeance, but the letter opener's thrust required strength. Lily's. Moreau's guile and Crane's obsession linger. Poirot murmurs, the web unravels, but the shadow strikes. Who killed Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the next chapter, where Poirot's trap catches a killer. Like, subscribe, and drop your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded trap. Chandeliers casting a stark light over a scene of unraveling lies and mounting dread. The Crimson Star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished during a meticulously planned blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his heart. A second attack on Tommy, the kitchen boy, with a rouge-mirrored knife, underscores the killer's desperation to silence witnesses. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective with a mind as sharp as a polished blade, stands among the suspects: Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold, his green eyes piercing their crumbling facades. Clues pile like scattered shards: a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, candle wax, a charred paper fragment, a betting slip, a ruby sketch in Beatrice's notebook, and a ruby shard in Evelyn's locket. Harold's confession ties him to bookmaker Jack Riley. Beatrice's sketch and past hint at vengeance. And Langley's debts loom large, but the star and the killer remain elusive. As midnight cloaks London in shadow, Poirot's traps, parked by a fake ruby chipes, cracked Beatrice's mask and revealed Evelyn's shard. Now a new shock tightens the web, bringing the shadow closer to exposure. Poirot stands in the dining room. The guests' faces a gallery of fear and defiance. Lady Evelyn, her blue shawl slipping, clutches her empty locket, her emerald eyes haunted by the ruby shard's discovery. Captain Langley's bravado is a ghost, his betting slip and monogrammed handkerchief tying him to Riley and the letter opener. Madame Moreau's poise is shattered, her jasmine oil and hidden purse with a ruby sketch raising questions. Dr. Crane's glassy stare betrays obsession, his ink-stained fingers and wax-smeared loupe damning clues. Beatrice, her notebook sketch exposed, sits rigid, her mousy facade broken. Harold, restrained by a constable, stares at the floor, his fuse box sabotage and match linking him to a woman's voice. Moreau's, or a mimic. Poirot's little gray cells churn, weaving clues. The rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's compact. The jasmine pointing to Moreau. The napkin's blood and silk implicating Langley. The charred fragment echoing Crane's curse. And Beatrice's sketch and note, watch him, suggesting vengeance. A new shock looms and Poirot's net is tightening. A sharp clatter breaks the silence. Moreau's fan slips from her hand, revealing a hidden compartment with a second ruby shard, glinting like a bloodied eye. The room erupts. Evelyn gasps. Langley curses. Crane mutters about curses. Poirot pounces, his voice calm but piercing. Madame Moreau, another piece of the Crimson Star. How came it here? Moreau's face pales, her voice shrill. It was planted, monsieur. I swear. Poirot's trap, sparked by the ruby chip. Bluff has struck again. He holds up the shard, watching Beatrice flinch and Langley's jaw tighten. Inspector Davies moves to restrain Moreau, but Poirot halts him. Not yet, Inspector. The shadow closes in, but the web holds. The guest's nerves, Fray Beatrice clings to her notebook. Harold weeps. Evelyn stares at Langley. The truth is near, but the killer's hand is veiled. Poirot revisits the clues, tightening his net. The rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's. Compact, and the carpet smudge suggests her involvement are a frame. He confronts her in the parlor. Mademoiselle, 2 shards, now yours and Madame's. Did you steal the star? Evelyn's voice breaks. I found it in my shawl. Someone framed me. Poirot shows the blue silk fiber from Langley's napkin, matching her shawl. Did you move in the dark? She denies it, but her eyes flicker to Beatrice. Poirot asks about the threatening letters, and she admits one warned of blood for the mine. Father dismissed it. She says her fear real. Her locket's shard makes her a suspect, but her trembling hand suggests panic, not guilt. Poirot lets her go, her tears a puzzle. Captain Langley is next, his face flushed. I'm no thief, he snaps. But the blood-specked napkin, silk fiber, and Riley's bedding slip damn him. Poirot shows the monogrammed handkerchief, H, like the letter opener. Yours, monsieur. Langley denies it, claiming it's Hawthorne's, but his eyes dart. Poirot presses about Riley, learning Langley's debts are tied to a failed deal Hawthorne blocked. He crushed my future, Langley growls. His strength could wield the letter opener, and his seat gave him access to the star. His flirtations with Evelyn love, or a grab for wealth. Poirot smiles, letting him sweat. Madame Moreau enters, her jasmine perfume sharp. I am innocent. She hisses, but her ruby shard and jasmine oil undermine her. Poirot mentions the stairwell pearl bead. Yours, madame, she laughs, lost days ago. Her fan's key, now linked to Harold's locker key, intrigues him. Her Parisian jewel thief connection and spurned patronage suggest motive. The jasmine near Hawthorne's body and rouge on the knife point to her, a setup. Poirot asks about the ruby sketch in her purse, and she flushes. A gift from a fan, she claims. Her agility could snatch the star, and her seat gave her opportunity. Poirot lets her go, her poise crumbling. Dr. Crane, trembling, insists the curse killed Hawthorne. The star demands blood, he mutters, echoing the note. Poirot shows the charred fragment blood for, and Crane flinches. At mine. His ink-stained fingers, wax-smeared loop, and forged certifications make him a suspect. Did he kill to hide a fake star, or claim it? Oh, his seat beside Hawthorne gave him opportunity, and his obsession with the Burmese mine suggests. A grudge. Poirot asks about the wax, and Crane admits touching the candlestick. I was curious, he says, but his eyes betray fear. Poirot lets him go, his unease a clue. Beatrice recalled crumbles under Poirot's gaze. The sketch. I studied the star, she repeats. Poirot shows the half-burned letter, justice for the mine. Your father's death, mademoiselle? Beatrice sobs, admitting she blamed Hawthorne's wealth. I wrote to vent, not to kill. Her sketch's precision and access to the threatening letters make her a suspect, but her frailty seems unfit for murder. Poirot asks about the note, Ewatch. Him Langley, she says. He pressured Evelyn. Or loyalty to Evelyn or resentment is unclear. Poirot notes her trembling hands, a sign of guilt or fear. Harold last sobs under questioning. I cut the fuse for Riley, he repeats, pointing to Moreau's voice. Poirot shows the matching keys, her fan, his locker. Did she pay you? Harold shakes his head, but his eyes dart to Beatrice. A woman, sharp voice, he mumbles. Poirot suspects a mimic Beatrice, using jasmine to frame Moreau. Harold's match and betting slip confirm Riley's hold. A pawn manipulated by a guest? Poirot lets him go, his fear a thread to pull. Poirot orders a final search, targeting hidden spaces. Evelyn's shawl yields a tiny silk tear, matching the napkin's fiber. Langley's cigar case holds a matchbook like the stairwells. Moreau's purse has a jasmine vial, freshly used. Crane's coat yields a note. "Star is mine," in his script. Beatrice's room has a hidden photo her father in a mine. Harold's locker holds a ruby sketch, like Moreau's. The candlestick's blood trace. From Tommy suggests a stun before the knife. The fireplace's silk thread blue. Evelyn suggests burned evidence. Poirot tests the letter opener. Finding wax traces, did someone clean it? As dawn nears, Poirot paces, the Thames black below. The rouge, jasmine, napkin, beadwax, sketch, shards, notes all point to a conspiracy. Tommy's attack proves the killer's fear. Beatrice's past and sketch suggest vengeance. Langley's strength fits the murder. Moreau's guile and Crane's obsession linger. Poirot murmurs. The shadow closes in, but the star hides. Who killed Hawthorne? Where is the star? Stay tuned for the final chapter where Poirot unveils the truth. Like, subscribe, and drop your theories below. The Claridge's hotel dining room is a gilded stage for the final act. Its chandeliers casting a pale glow over a scene of shattered lies and exposed secrets. The crimson star, a ruby pendant cursed by its bloody origins in a Burmese mine, vanished. During a calculated blackout, leaving Lord Reginald Hawthorne dead, a monogrammed letter opener buried in his heart. A second attack on Tommy, the kitchen boy, with a rouge-smeared knife, proved the killer's desperation to silence witnesses. Hercule Poirot, the Belgian detective, with a mind sharper than a diamond's facet, stands among the suspects: Lady Evelyn Hawthorne, Captain Arthur Langley, Madame Celeste Moreau, Dr. Victor Crane, Miss Beatrice Kline, and the trembling footman, Harold, his green eyes stripping away their facades. Clues have woven a deadly web: a smudge of rouge, a whiff of jasmine, a blood-specked napkin, cryptic note, a scuff mark, a pearl bead, candle wax, a charred paper fragment, a betting slip, a ruby sketch in Beatrice's notebook, and ruby shards in Evelyn's locket and Moreau's fan. Harold's confession ties him to bookmaker Jack Riley, Beatrice's sketch and past scream vengeance, and Langley's debts loom large, but Poirot's trap sparked by a fake ruby chip has cracked. Their masks. As dawn gilds London, Poirot unveils the truth. Shattering the curse's shadow, Poirot gathers the guests, their faces etched with dread and exhaustion. Lady Evelyn, her blue shawl tattered, clutches her empty locket, her emerald eyes hollow. Captain Langley, his bravado gone, grips his monogrammed handkerchief, his betting slip damning him. Madame Moreau's poise is a ruin, her jasmine oil and ruby shard exposing her guile. Dr. Crane's glassy stare betrays obsession, his ink stained fingers and wax-smeared loop, tying him to the crime. Beatrice, her notebook sketch revealed, sits rigid, her mousy facade broken. Harold, restrained by a constable, stares at the floor, his fuse box sabotage and match linking him to a woman's voice. Poirot's little gray cells churn, weaving clues, the rouge on Tommy's knife, matching Evelyn's compact. The jasmine pointing to Moreau, napkins blood and silk implicating Langley. The charred fragment echoing Crane's curse. In Beatrice's sketch and note, watch him screaming vengeance. The web is tight, and Poirot steps forward, his voice a beacon of clarity. Mise Amis, the crimson star is no curse, is a magnet for human greed, vengeance, and betrayal. Tonight Poirot unveils the truth. He begins with the theft, his tone calm but piercing. The crimson star was taken in the blackout, its shards scattered to confuse us. He holds up the ruby fragments from Evelyn's locket and Moreau's fan, then points to Beatrice. Mademoiselle Kline, your sketch betrays you stole the star. Beatrice gasps, her face crumpling. I took it for justice. She sobs. My father died in that mine, crushed for Hawthorne's wealth. She confesses to slipping the star from Evelyn's neck during the blackout, her proximity as secretary giving her access. She dismantled it, planting shards in Evelyn's locket and Moreau's fan to frame them, hoping to ruin Hawthorne's legacy. Poirot nods, believing her she stole for vengeance, not greed, but her frail frame couldn't wield the letter opener. "You did not kill," he says, watching her tears fall. Poirot turns to the murder, his eyes on Captain Langley. "Monsieur, your strength delivered the fatal thrust." Langley's face reddens, his denial cut off as Poirot produces the monogrammed handkerchief H, matching the letter opener.
Ours.
"Not Hawthorne's," Poirot says, noting Langley's initials, Arthur Henry Langley, confirmed by Scotland Yard. The blood-specked napkin with Evelyn's blue silk fiber places Langley near her in the dark. "You struck Hawthorne," Poirot says, to silence his refusal of your shipping deal, which would have erased your debts to Riley. Langley collapses, sobbing. "He was going to ruin me." I grabbed the opener, acted in a panic. The napkins. Blood came from wiping the blade, and the silk fiber from brushing Evelyn's shawl as he lunged. Poirot's trap, sparked by the ruby chip bluff, broke him. But Tommy's attack? Poirot's gaze shifts to Madame Moreau, her jasmine perfume sharp. "Madame, you struck the boy to silence him." Moreau's poise shatters, her voice shrill. "Lies." Poirot produces the jasmine oil vial and Fan's key, matching Harold's locker. "You paid Harold to cut the fuse," he says, using your Parisian guile. Moreau, desperate for patronage, Hawthorne denied. Saw the blackout as a chance to steal the star, but found Beatrice had taken it. When Tommy overheard her whispering to Harold, she grabbed a kitchen knife, smearing it with Evelyn's rouge too. Frame her, and struck to silence him. The pearl bead, dropped in the stairwell, was hers, planted to confuse. "Mimicked a killer's calm," Poirot says, "but your jasmine betrayed you." Moreau screams, but Davy's cuffs are Dr. Crane's. Role, Poirot explains, was secondary. "Doctor, your obsession with the curse drove you to warn Hawthorne." The cryptic note, "The star demands blood," was Crane's, his ink-stained fingers and wax-smeared loop tying him to the candlestick used to stun Tommy before Moreau's knife. Crane admits writing the note to scare Hawthorne into selling. "The star fearing its curse?" "I saw death coming," he mutters, but denies murder. His forged certifications revealed by Scotland Yard were a motive to hide, not kill. Poirot nods, his mania a distraction, not a crime. Harold a pawn, cut the fuse for Riley, paid by Moreau. "You were used, Monsieur," Poirot says, showing the matching keys. Harold sobs, admitting he took her money to clear his debts. Match in his apron and stairwell was his, lit to check the fuse box. Beatrice's half-burned letter, "Justice for the Mine," was burned to hide her theft. The blue silk thread from Evelyn's shawl planted to frame her. The candlestick's blood trace from Tommy confirms Moreau's attack. The stars. Frame, Poirot reveals, is hidden in plain sight. He points to the chandelier, its crystals glinting. With Davies's help, he lowers it, revealing the ruby silver setting nestled among the prisms. "Mademoiselle Kline hid it here," he says, knowing we look down, not up. The room erupts. Evelyn weeps, Langley curses, Moreau screams. Davies cuffs Beatrice and Langley, Moreau already restrained. Crane slumps, muttering about curses. Harold, a minor player, faces lesser charges. Evelyn, exonerated, clutches her shawl, her inheritance intact, but her heart heavy. Poirot steps back, his mustache twitching. The crimson star drew blood, but not by curse, by human hands. The ruby, its shards and frame recovered, will return to Evelyn, its myth shattered. The guests disperse Evelyn to her grief, Crane to his obsession, Harold to his debts. The Thames glimmers below, London waking. Poirot pauses by the window, the dawn golden, the little gray cells, he murmurs, see-through shadows. The truth, Beatrice's theft, Langley's murder, Moreau's attack, lifts the curses. Vale, what did you think of Poirot's quest? Was the star's curse real, or only human darkness? Smash that like button, subscribe for more mysteries, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for our next tale, where new shadows hide. Deadly secrets. Thank you for joining Poirot and the Crimson Star Mystery. Keep your little gray cells sharp.